Former Police Commissioner of Delhi, Ved Marwah, is with us live from Delhi. Also, Anjali Damania, member of the Aam Aadmi Party, joining us live from Mumbai this evening. My colleague Ankit Tyagi is also with us. I want a quick reaction first from Ankit on this vigilantism that appears to have been demonstrated by two sitting ministers of the Aam Aadmi Party government in Delhi. Ankit, Arvind Kejriwal, the Chief Minister, has thrown his full weight behind them. So can we say at this time that there is no adverse observation being made on either Rakhi Birla or Somnath Bharti for what they did last night?
Well, absolutely not. The Chief Minister has taken the draggers out as far as the Delhi police is concerned. He threw his weight, as you said, behind Somnath Bharti, the Law Minister, and also Rakhi Birla. Rakhi Birla has been very frequent on these checked, and as she goes out in the night, she has hauled up a policemen before also. So far, they think that it is the callousness of the Delhi police. Arvind Kejriwal, it is a clear attempt from him. He has always been advocating that Delhi police should have been under the Delhi government and not under the central government, and that hampers the functioning as far as Delhi government is concerned. Today he has opened front as far as the Delhi police is concerned, and almost warning the Delhi Police Commissioner to take action, or else the government and also they will encourage the citizens to go out and protest against the Delhi police.
I want to get a quick opening comment from former Commissioner of the Police of Delhi, Ved Marwah, who's with us. Mr. Marwah, what did you make of this? We've seen leaders of the Aam Aadmi Party go out and demonstrate, doing things on the ground, shouting at people, protesting. Here it was in two situations where the police were in active operations and they were being barked at with instructions, by these two sitting ministers. What do you think, Mr. Marwah?
Well, I think it's a very unfortunate spat.
Please go ahead,
I'm getting
Marwah.
Echo back on whatever I'm saying.
Yeah, we'll just try and fix that echo. Just go ahead and tell us what you think, sir.
As I said, it is one thing to have good intentions. It is entirely another to deliver on their intentions. Berating the Delhi police before the public is not the best way to do it. It will only lead to further lack of confidence of the general public in the police. Police is the most important instrument in the hands of the government.
Yes.
They shouldn't be in a great hurry. They should understand the administrative system. In the administrative system, Delhi police is under the Lieutenant Governor. Lieutenant Governor is under the Ministry of Home Affairs. Delhi police budget is sanctioned by the Parliament, and it is the Home Minister who is accountable to the Parliament. Now, the Delhi government, in a great hurry to demonstrate their good intention, if they go and indulge in this sort of public demonstrating, berating the Delhi police, it will only be counterproductive, because police success can only be achieved by close cooperation between the police and the public, and by if a responsible minister of the Delhi administration, Delhi government, says what he has said, it will only shows their inexperience and
Mr. Marwah, I'm just trying to get a reaction in from Anjali Damania of the Aam Aadmi Party. We lost that line, but we'll get back to her in just a moment. Also, I'll get a word in from Ankit also. But Mr. Marwah, the Chief Minister of Delhi says that the Delhi police is completely compromised. They cannot be trusted to do their duty, and therefore such behavior, such activities by ministers going out in the middle of the night on these surprise raids and berating these policemen while they're on duty is perfectly acceptable. The sense that the Chief Minister of Delhi Kejriwal gives, is desperate situation requires desperate measures, and therefore it's acceptable.
As I said, there is no shortcut. There is a lot of scope for improvement in functioning of the law and order machinery. That not only includes the police, but the entire criminal justice system. But there is also a big responsibility for other departments of the Delhi government and the Ministry of Home Affairs, which should work in coordination, and they should all function in a manner where each one does its job effectively in coordination instead of putting the blame on each other, because that will lead to nothing.
Ankit, you were saying that at this point of time, no adverse, observations or no adverse action being contemplated by Chief Minister Kejriwal on these two ministers. Does that mean, Ankit, that this sort of activity where we see, ministers getting out, under the cover of darkness on surprise raids, it's something that's going to become pretty common for Delhiites, that means?
I think it already has, Shiv. In fact, all the ministers have entrusted the job of vigilantism, of these spot checks onto volunteers of the Aam Aadmi Party.
Yes.
Ministers, right from the word go. Manish Sisodia, you have seen many times on your television screens going to the night shelters. Rakhi Birla has been doing it more than often, and Somnath Bharti also. What Arvind Kejriwal would have to understand is that the intentions of the ministers behind this, if Arvind Kejriwal today and along with his ministers try to demonstrate that they had some specific information, they took the police with them, and the police did not act despite being given evidences against these people for drug peddling and prostitution. Despite that, the police did not do anything. He also said that when on the police's claim that they could not have raided the house because of the lack of the warrant, Somnath Bharti said, I'm a lawyer, I understand that in certain circumstances the police can go ahead and do that and then they can explain it later. But this also will then shave also what the Chief Minister and the ministers will have to take in account, that if the police voluntarily starts doing that, picking up people without warrants, they will be the first one against the police in such matters. One thing is very surprising, that all these berating of the Delhi police and all the action against the Delhi police is only done when there is a high-profile case. Remember, Sheila Dikshit also raised these voices after December 16. The Delhi police should come under the Delhi government. Arvind Kejriwal, after the rape case of that Danish citizen, we have heard what the minister and the city government had to say.
Okay, Mr. Marwah, I have a specific question for you, but before I do that, I just want to play out for our viewers what Minister Somnath Bharti said to that policeman. Listen in very careful to the language and the manner, the body language of this interaction. Take a very close look at this.
मतलब किसको कब जाना है?
अगर नहीं मानोगे,
कब जाना है किसको?
आपको अरेस्ट करना था इनको, और अरेस्ट ना करके इनको आप क्या कर रहे हैं? प्रोटेक्ट कर रहे हैं, सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं। मंत्री आएगा पकड़ने के लिए इनको, आपकी ड्यूटी थी। You're allowing the criminals to run away.
You are allowing
that house is full of criminals
because you are not allowing police to work.
You can send your police people who are standing there to raid that house, and you can search it. Raid that house also accordingly.
हम तो मना करी थी, अगर रिकॉर्डिंग की
आप काम नहीं करने दे रहे हैं पुलिस को, आप रेड करिए उस घर को।
मैं बता रहा ना, आप काम नहीं करने दे रहे हैं।
Ved Marwah, the language being used by the minister in that interaction, he says things like doob maro and, other such things that will be interpreted as, as volatile, as provocative. Given how sensitive operations of this kind are, tempers are already on edge, people are stressed out, there is a command and control confusion because, as you rightly said, these officers don't, report to the Delhi government, they report to the Lieutenant Governor and the Home Ministry, so there could be ego issues involved as well. So if ministers behave like this in public, there's a good chance of things sometimes spiraling out of control as well. Isn't that true, Mr. Marwah?
Well, you're absolutely right. It can create problems of command and control in a disciplined force like the police, and at the same time it could encourage anti-social elements to say all sorts of things. There is a way in which the police should be made more effective. Instead of behaving as the minister did, he is, as I said earlier, he has only shown his maturity and inexperience, but I think the Chief Minister and the Lieutenant Governor should call the other ministers also, and ensure that a proper manner of supervision and monitoring is done, not only about the police but in every department. This sort of public demonstration is not a good thing. There is a difference between demonstrating, protesting and governance, and the government should realize that they are no longer making protests in Delhi. They are now ruling, and they should act with more sense of responsibility.
Well, a sense of responsibility is something, ironically, that even the outside supporters of the Aam Aadmi Party, the Congress Party, has been, taking to the streets and shouting for. Ankit, you've been reporting on those protests. It's bizarre. But in this political season, we're seeing more absurd things with each passing hour. The Congress Party has hit the streets protesting against the Aam Aadmi Party while supporting them from the outside. And one of the things that they've been protesting about is the manner in which Somnath Bharti and Rakhi Birla have been behaving.
Absolutely. The opposition is leaving no opportunity. They are, of course, on the Kejriwal's heels asking. In fact, the Congress and the BJP are asking for resignation of Somnath Bharti, not only in the manner in which he behaved last night, but also on the other case in which he has been indicted by the Patiala House Court for tempering of evidence of a case that he was representing last year. But Shiv, more importantly, what has happened is that in the name of transparency, somewhere probably the ministers and the government is losing the plot. But right now, the intentions, as Mr. Marwah also said, the intentions are pretty good. But in the way in which they are trying to implement these intentions, that is putting a question mark on the behavior of the government. Apart from that, very important point is that because of all these gimmicks, because of all these problems in front of the media or the way the ministers are behaving, actual issues of how the government is going, what is the budget that the government is preparing, what are the actual issues to the people, that somehow are being sidelined. You and me have been reporting on many cases. If this would have happened in UP, a minister would have been trying to intimidate the police like that. Probably that would have hit the national headlines.
Absolutely.
And everybody would have been going, ballistic over that. It is only because the Delhi government, the police does not come under it. Probably that is why the policeman even had the guts to tell the minister that you are not letting me do my duty. This also somehow reflects that the bitter rivalry between the Delhi police and the Aam Aadmi Party when they were not in power, probably the kind of protest they are used to, that is also somehow being played out here when they are in the power.
Well, let's just hope things don't go from bad to worse. Whichever way the Aam Aadmi Party sees fit, to put its ministers out there during operations of this kind, we'll have to just hope and pray that things don't get out of control. Because like Ved Marwah just pointed out, there are command and control problems, there are ego issues, professionalism aside, anything can happen in a volatile situation. And imagine if that actually happens. Ankit Tyagi, Ved Marwah, appreciate you joining us on this discussion. Unfortunately, we had an audio problem. Yes, Ved Marwah, quick closing comment. Yes.
It will be very unfair to say that Delhi police is settling scores with the Aam Aadmi Party. They know that Aam Aadmi Party is the ruling party in Delhi, and I'm sure the Commissioner and his officers will give every cooperation to the Delhi government to ensure that the police functions effectively. They shouldn't make such presumption because that will make the job extremely difficult.
All right. Thank you, Ved Marwah. That's a closing comment from you. We've already spoken to the Delhi police chief, who says he's going to look into all aspects of this before taking any further decisions as far as his force is concerned. Ankit Tyagi, Ved Marwah, thanks for joining us.